Hey, fourth graders. So I am going to continue reading Number the Stars. We are on chapter 4. But before I move on, you will need your notebook to take notes because after this, you will have a comprehension quiz on Google Forms. So make sure you have that. So if you're adding to character's description, if you are taking note on behavior or something that interests you, jot that down. Any words, vocabulary you may not know, you can jot those down and see if you could figure out the meaning because, I put a lot of different things in the quiz just so I can just monitor your comprehension and your use of vocabulary to figure out meaning. So before I continue, I wanted to go over some of the questions kids were getting wrong on from chapter 3. So we know Peter is Anne Marie's her sister who passed away, her fiance. Yeah, he still comes to the house because they said that he's like a son to them and he does work for the resistance. Remember, that's the group who is helping the Jewish people escape before the German soldiers get them. Also, there was a question um, about like what did Anne Marie find out from Peter's visit. It wasn't the fact that Ellen Rosen was Jewish. I mean, they're best friends. They know each other's religion and how what they practice. But it was more that because she says, "Oh, she's Jewish," not because she just found out she was Jewish. She said she's Jewish because, oh no, she can possibly be rounded up to go to the concentration camps because that's what's been happening in Denmark during that time. So that's why she was pretty surprised. Then there was um, the products that were rationed. So some of you put down that potatoes were, and no, ration means like they are in short supply and they're given out little by little. And we know coffee was one because the moms were having coffee and it was just um, water with herbs. So coffee was rationed. And then when Kirsty's talking about cupcakes with butter, and of course Anne Marie said that they have not had butter in a while, so butter was rationed. And where they were talking about that winter's coming and that the fuel for heating up the house is also rationed. And that's when, you know, Anne Marie was saying, well, she has Kirsty to keep her warm, but who does Ellen have? So those were the three things that it was mentioned, evidence in the text, those were rationed. Now, the one thing that was not rationed was there were the potatoes. And on page 22, it specifically said, Anne Marie's peeling potatoes. She said, every night now, it seems they had potatoes for dinner and little else. So some of you who put down that potatoes were rationed, I think missed the boat on that. So just keep, just listen carefully and take notes. All right, because you're allowed to use those notes for your quiz. It's not cheating. Okay. All right. So this is chapter 4. It will be a long night. Alone in the apartment while Mama was out shopping with Kirsty, Anne Marie and Ellen were sprawled on the living room floor playing with paper dolls. They had cut the dolls from Mama's magazines, old ones she had saved from past years. The paper the paper ladies had old-fashioned hairstyles and clothes, and the girls had given them names from Mama's very favorite book. Mama had told Anne Marie and Ellen the entire story of Gone with the Wind, and the girls thought it was more interesting and romantic than the king and queen tales that Kirsty loved. Come, Melanie, Anne Marie said, walking her doll across the edge of the rug. Let's dress for the ball. All right, Scarlet, I'm coming. Ellen replied in a sophisticated voice. She was a talented performer. She often played the leading roles in school dramatics. Games of the imaginations were always fun when Ellen played. The door opened and Kirsty stomped in, her face tear stained and glowering. Mamma followed her with an exasperated look and set a package down on the table. I won't, Kirsty sputtered. I won't ever wear them. Not if you chain me in a prison and beat me with sticks. Oh no. Here we go with Kirsty again. Anne Marie giggled and looked questioningly at her mother. Mrs. Johansson sighed. I bought Kirsty some new shoes, she explained. She's outgrown her old ones. Goodness, Kirsty, Ellen said. I wish my mother would give me some new shoes. I love new things, and it's so hard to find them in the stores. Not if you go to a fish store, Kirsty bellowed. But most mothers wouldn't make their daughters wear ugly fish shoes. Are you imagining fish shoes? Kirsten, oh, that's her real name, Mama said soothingly. You know it wasn't a fish store, and we were lucky to find shoes at all. Kirsty sniffled. Show them, she commanded. Show Anne Marie and Ellen how ugly they are. Mama opened the package and took out the pair of little girl's shoes. She held them up, and Kirsty looked away in disgust. You know, there's no leather anymore, Mama explained, but they found a way to make shoes out of fish skin. I don't think these are too ugly. Anne Marie and Ellen looked at the fish shoes, or the fish skinned shoes. Anne Marie took one in her hand and examined it. It was an odd looking. The fish scales were visible, but it was a shoe, and her sister needed shoes. It's not so bad, Kirsty, she said, lying just a little. Ellen turned the other one in her hand. You know, she said, it's only the color that's ugly. Green, Kirsty wailed. I will never, ever wear green shoes. In her apartment, Ellen told her, my father has a jar of black ink. Would you like these shoes better if they were black? Kirsty frowned. Maybe I would, she said finally. Well, then, Ellen told her, tonight, if your mama doesn't mind, I'll take the shoes home and I'll ask my father to make them black for you with his ink. Mama laughed. I think that would be a fine improvement. What do you think, Kirsty? Kirsty pondered. Could he make them shiny? She asked. I want them shiny. Oh my gosh. Ellen nodded. I think he could. I think they'll be quite pretty, black and shiny. Kirsty nodded. All right then, she said, but you mustn't tell anyone that they're fish. I don't want anyone to know. She took her new shoes, holding them disdainfully, put them on the chair. Then she looked with interest at the paper dolls. Can I play too? Kirsty asked. Can I have a doll? She squatted beside Anne Marie and Ellen on the floor. Sometimes Anne Marie thought Kirsty was such a pest, always butting in, but the apartment was small and there was no other place for Kirsty to play. And if they told her to go away, Mama would scold. Here, Anne Marie said, and handed her sister a cutout little girl doll. We're playing Gone with the Wind. Melanie and Scarlett are going to a ball. You can be Bonnie. She's Scarlett's daughter. Kirsty danced her doll up and down happily. I'm going to the ball, she announced in a high pretend voice. Ellen giggled. A little girl wouldn't go to a ball. Let's make them go someplace else. Let's make them go to Tivoli. Tivoli? Anne Marie began to laugh. That's in Copenhagen. Gone with the Wind is in America. Tivoli, 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 little Kirsty sang, twirling her doll in a circle. Now, if you Google Tivoli amusement park, you will see that it is in Copenhagen, Denmark. So you can go on Google Earth and take a ride there and check it out if you want. It doesn't matter because it's only a game anyway, Ellen pointed out. Tivoli can be over there by that chair. Come, Scarlet, she said, using her doll voice. We shall go to Tivoli to dance and watch the fireworks, and maybe there'll be some handsome men there. Bring your silly daughter, Bonnie, and she could ride on the carousel. Anne Marie grinned and walked her Scarlet to the chair that Ellen had designated as Tivoli. She loved Tivoli Gardens in the heart of Copenhagen. Her parents had taken there often when she was a little girl. She remembered the music and the brightly colored lights. She carouseled and ice cream, the carousel and ice cream, and especially the magnificent fireworks in the evenings, the huge colored splashes and bursts of lights in the evening sky. I remember the fireworks festival, she commented to Ellen. Me too, Kirsty said. I remember the fireworks. Silly, Anne Marie scoffed. You never saw the fireworks. Tivoli Gardens was closed now. The German occupation forces had burnt part of it, perhaps as a way of punishing the fun loving Danes for their light hearted pleasures. Kirsty drew herself up, her small shoulders stiff. I did too, she said belligerently. It was my birthday. I woke up in the night and I could hear the booms, and there were lights in the sky. Mama said it was fireworks for my birthday. Then Anne Marie remembered. Kirsty's birthday was late in August, and that night, only a month before, she too had been awakened and frightened by the sounds of explosions. Kirsty was right. The sky was in the southeast, had been ablaze, and Mama had to comfort her by calling it a birthday celebration. Imagine such fireworks for a little girl 5 years old, Mama had said, sitting on their bed, holding the dark curtain aside to look through the window at the lighted sky. The next evening's newspaper had told the sad truth. The Danes had destroyed their own naval fleet, blowing up vessels one by one as the Germans approached to take over the ships for their own use. How sad the king must be, Anne Marie had heard Mamma say to Papa when they read the news. How proud, Papa had replied. It had made Anne Marie feel sad and proud too, to picture the tall, aging king, perhaps with tears in his blue eyes, as he looked at the remains of his small navy, which now lay submerged and broken in the harbor. I don't want to play any more, Ellen, she said suddenly and put her paper doll on the table. I have to go home anyway, Ellen said. I have to help Mama with the house cleaning. Thursday is our new year. Did you know that? Why is it yours? Asked Kirsty. Isn't it our new year too? No, it's the Jewish New Year. That's just for us. But if you want, Kirsty, you can come over that night and watch Mama light the candles. Anne Marie and Kirsty had been invited to watch Mrs. Rosen light the Sabbath candles on Friday evenings. She covered her head with a cloth and said a special prayer in Hebrew as she did so. Anne Marie always stood very quietly, awed to watch even Kirsty, usually such a chatterbox, was always still at that time. They didn't understand the words or the meaning, but they could feel what a special time it was for the Rosens. Yes, Kirsty agreed happily. I'll come and watch your mama light the candles, and I'll wear my new black shoes. But this time was to be different. Leaving for school on Thursday with her sister, Anne Marie saw the Rosens walking to the synagogue early in the morning, dressed in their best clothes. She waved to Ellen, who waved happily back. Luckily, Ellen, Lucky Ellen, Anne Marie said to Kirsty, she doesn't have to go to school today. But she probably has to sit very, very still, like we do in church, Kirsty pointed out. That's no fun. That afternoon, Mrs. Rosen knocked at their door, but didn't come inside. Instead, she spoke for a long time in a hurried, tense voice to Anne Marie's mother in the hall. When Mama returned, her face was worried, but her voice was cheerful. Girls, she said, we have a nice surprise. Tonight, Alan will be coming to stay overnight and to be our guest for a few days. Isn't it it isn't often we have a visitor. Kirsty clapped her hands in delight. But Mamma, Anne Marie said in dismay. In dismay. It's their new year. They were going to have a celebration at home. Ellen told me that her mother managed to get a chicken someplace and she's going to roast it. Their first roast chicken in a year or more. Their plans have changed, Mama said briskly. Mr. and Mrs. Rosen have been called away to visit some relatives, so Ellen will stay with us. Now, let's get busy and put clean sheets on your bed. Christy, you may sleep with Mama and Papa tonight, and we'll let the big girls giggle together by themselves. Christy pouted, and it was clear that she was about to argue. Mama will tell you a special story tonight, her mother's. Mama will tell you a very special story tonight, her mother said. One just for you. About a king? Kirsty asked dubiously. About a king, if you wish, Mama replied. All right then. But there must be a queen too, Kirsty said. Though Mrs. Rosen had sent her chicken to the Johansen, and Mamma made a lovely dinner large enough for the second helpings all around. It was not an evening of laughter and talk. Ellen was silent at dinner. She looked frightened. Mom and Papa tried to speak of cheerful things, but it was clear that they were worried, and it made Anne Marie worry too. Only Kirsty was unaware of the quiet tension in the room. Swinging her feet in their newly blackened and shiny shoes, she chattered and giggled during dinner. Early bedtime tonight, little one, Mama announced after the dishes were washed. We need extra time for the long story I promised about the king and queen. She disappeared with Kirsty into the bedroom. What's happening? Anne Marie asked when she and Ellen were alone with Papa in the living room. Something's wrong. What is it? Papa's face was troubled. I wish that I could protect your children from this knowledge, he said quietly. Ellen, you already know. Now we must tell Anne Marie. He turned to her and stroked her hair with his gentle hand. This morning, the synagogue. This morning, at the synagogue, the rabbi told his congregation that Nazis have taken the synagogue list of all the Jews, where they live, what their names are. Of course, the Rosens were on that list, along with many others. Why? Why did they want those names? They plan to arrest all the Danish Jews. They plan to take them away, and we have been told that they might come tonight. I don't understand. Take them where? Her father shook his head. We don't know where, and we don't really know why. They call it relocation. We don't even know what that means. We only know that it is wrong and it is dangerous, and we must help. Anne Marie was stunned. She looked at Ellen and she saw her best friend was crying silently. Where are Ellen's parents? We must help them too. We couldn't take all three of them. If the soldiers came to search our apartment, it would be clear to that the Rosens were here. One person we can hide, not three. So Peter has helped Ellen's parents go somewhere else. We don't know where. Ellen doesn't know either, but they are safe. Ellen sobbed out loud. She put her face in her hands. Papa put her arm around her. They are safe, Ellen, I promise you that. They will see them. You will see them quite soon again. Can you try hard to believe my promise? Ellen hesitated, nodded, wiped her eyes with her hand. But Papa, Anne Marie said, looking around the small apartment, with its few pieces of furniture, the fat stuffed sofa, the table and chairs, the small bookcase against the wall. You said that we would hide her. How can we do that? Where can she hide? Papa smiled. That part is easy. It will be as your mamma said. You two will sleep together in your bed. You may giggle and talk, tell secrets to each other. And if anyone comes, Ellen interrupted him. Who might come? Will it be the soldiers like the ones on the corners? And we remembered how terrified Ellen had looked the day when the soldier had questioned them on that corner. I really don't think anyone will, but it never hurts to be prepared. If anyone should come, even soldiers, you two will be sisters. You are together so much, it is easy for you to pretend that you are sisters. He rose and walked to the window. He pulled the lace curtain aside and looked down into the street. Outside, it was beginning to grow dark. Soon they would have to draw the black curtains, and all the Danes and had on their windows the entire day had to be completely darkened at night. In a nearby tree, a bird was singing. Otherwise, it was quiet. It was the last night of September. Go now, get into your nightgowns. It will be a long night. Anne Marie and Ellen got to their feet. Papa suddenly crossed the room, put his arms around them both. He kissed the top of each head. Anne Marie's blonde one, which reached to his shoulders, and Ellen's dark hair, the thick curls braided, as always, into pigtails. Don't be frightened, he said to them softly. Once I had 3 daughters. Tonight, I am proud to have 3 daughters again. What do you guys think? All right, jot down your notes and think about what you just heard, what you just read, and then you will take your comprehension quiz for chapter 4. All right, thanks.